What's going on, guys? So today what we're going to be working on is the cab corner as well as the outer rocker. The relationship between these is important, obviously, because they connect and they're the outermost thing that you see. The biggest challenge that we're going to run into is when I mocked these up initially, we have a really horrible fitment between the two panels in here. So I'm going to have to play around with it and figure out what's going to be the best. But first things first, we're going to start fitting the cab corner. I'm going to get the door put back on so we can get everything aligned properly. But the corner piece that I have, it sits like back between, so we do have to shape that out a little bit and stretch the metal so that it does fit flush with this. I'll show you what I mean here in just a second. So when we're taking our patch panel that we've already cut, the most important parts that line up obviously are down here and then this edge here. And when we take that, you can see how this is sunk in. There's a lip. It's not flush. So we got to take this panel and work it out so that this is flush here. And we also maintain our contact points down on these two corners here. So let's get going with that. Alright, so with this clamped in and mocked up, by the way, these panel clamps are amazing for this type of thing. But we still have to bring this out. It is really close, but still there's just a bit of a lip there. But the problem area is right there. That's a pretty big gap. So like I said, I'm going to bring the door on and see where this is going to move around. This may have to move back a little bit, but we're pretty good right there. So I just don't know if we're going to have the wiggle room that I'd like to see in any of this. So get these bottom edges lined up and then kind of go from there. So I also need to find a way that I can hold this in place and have the door on. So I've got a few challenges that I've got to work through here to get everything good to go. But so far so good. It's looking like it's going to be pretty nice once it's done. Alright, so with the door on, that tells us where our discrepancy is, and that is going to be from the cab corner, which is now appearing fairly obvious. Long story short on this, I don't like the way that it's fitting. This should have been better ultimately, and these gaps they're just too big. So I ordered a new one. Take two. I certainly not a professional at this, so figuring it all out as I go, and that sucked. So we're gonna try that again. Luckily, they're only like 20 bucks for those. So I'll have a new one here in the next couple days, but let's start working on getting the outer rocker in while I have the door on. Alright, so I got the outer rocker on, and a very consistent gap across there, which is perfect. And fix this door gap a little bit better. It looks like once we get the outer rocker in, we're going to be able to pull this in just a touch to help close that gap a little bit more and make that more consistent, because you can see how it just comes out this way just a little bit. So that will be good. Next, as you open and close, make sure nothing's rubbing. If you see a spot like right here where there is just a little, part of that is just when I was getting the door fit, but making sure that that's smoothed out, hammered down a little bit. I'm going to drill a shit ton of holes in this all along here for plug welds, and then all along here for plug welds. So lots of drilling. Let's get that done. So the outer rocker is done, it's in. The one area that gave me a little bit of a problem that I didn't necessarily anticipate is the bottom seam weld. The inner rocker was just a little too short, so the holes that I drilled there just didn't really necessarily have any metal where I could do a plug weld into, which is fine. I'll figure something out that I'm going to do there. But until that time, I don't necessarily know what that thing is going to be. I probably won't even mess with it until I flip the cab onto its back and start working on the underside of the cab. So now that that's in, still waiting on my new cab corner that I ordered. That, like I said, that piece was a complete fail. I'm going to try and cut this one up a little bit and kind of figure out exactly if maybe I can make it work, maybe I can salvage it, maybe not. But with that piece that I ordered, I just want to see if I could get a better stamping that more fits that corner. With that gap where we made up a lot of that ground, I was actually pulling this in a bit and actually bringing it to the outer rocker as opposed to having the rocker panel come to that. And we were able to salvage quite a bit of space with that. I still do have a little bit of a gap here that we'll be able to make up one way or another. So I will figure that out while I'm sitting around thinking about things over the course of the week, and we'll go from there. Yeah, overall it turned out pretty good. There's some areas that didn't turn out beautifully. They're structurally sound, but they just don't look that great. Those two areas are going to be under the weather stripping, so I don't mind so much about that, because once that weather stripping is adhered on, it disappears. But like I said, as long as it's structurally sound, which it is, yeah, we're getting a little bit closer each day, and we'll just keep chipping away at this. So I'll see you guys at the next one.